Hi everybody. I'm Jager Hessing with JavaScript NYC. Um, we're going to be hearing from Liz Faublas-Wallace about bossing up and dreaming up in the entrepreneurship and gig economy. So, Liz, you could take it away.
I was just like, so yeah. So anyway, so that's the secret to life. All right, bye guys. Sorry about that. I was just saying that I'm really excited to be here, and I really hope that I could impart some useful, engaging knowledge for you guys, because you are, many of you might even be considering entering a field that is, it's really challenging, and you'll find some obstacles, and that's entrepreneurship, which is what I'm in, and the gig economy as well. But I really think that if we apply ourselves to it and we understand that there are some risks about it, that this is really a landscape that's easy to navigate if you decide that you're going to just put certain pieces in place. And what I mean by that is, when I started my business, I started it because I had left corporate America. I was absolutely done with it. And it just wasn't serving me as a woman, as a Black woman, and as somebody that just really wanted to be able to take control of her life. And that is something that I think is just important for me, even at my age, and for the generation that's coming up. If you don't have a purpose, and if you don't feel like you have control of your life, that just leaves room open for so many different other things, which includes like self-doubt. It messes with your mental, it messes with your health. And I just really got to a point in my life where I decided, you know what? It's time that I start taking care of me. Life is short. I was seeing a lot of people that I loved, colleagues as well, and people that I didn't really know too well, but acquaintances pass away. A lot of it was because of the pandemic. And it really just kind of gave me a real like aha moment. Like, you know, what am I going to do with the rest of my life to make it fulfilling, to leave a legacy, which is something that I also want to talk to you guys about, and to kind of just leave a footprint that just doesn't disappear, you know, when you've gone on, you know, to the next level of your spirituality, or however you view it when you pass on. I was an anchor for over 10 years. I was a reporter and a producer for 15 years before that. So that is contextually, that's where I come from with regard to working, because I just want you guys to know what my journey has been like. I've been in corporate America for over 28 years. And not that I didn't get anything from it. I mean, I fulfilled a lot of dreams. I was ambitious as much as I can be, being a woman in a newsroom. That is not a very easy thing to do, but you know, I navigated that as best as I could. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about fortitude, about strength, about just having a voice, being ambitious, being driven, and pretty much not letting anybody dictate the journey that I'm going to take. So corporate America really served me well. Financially, it served me well. I was able to put my children through school, all the basic stuff. You know, I was able to take care of my home. We traveled a little bit, and I can't say that I have regrets. Even on the worst days of corporate America, literally can't say I have any regrets, because everything that I went through built me. Every single thing. There were days I was just like, God, I don't know what's going on, but you have some explaining to do. You really need to tell me what exactly it is that you're teaching me. But I also had to be open to hearing what he said, to open to hearing, you know, what experiences I've been going through, and where that should lead me. So corporate America really gave me a great foundation. When I decided I no longer wanted to be there, I had to ask myself, well, what am I good at? What exactly do I need to do in order to be fulfilled, do something that I'm passionate about, and make money and subsist? And I'm not talking make money, I want to reap revenue, I want to be able to like travel all over the place and buy expensive things. I wanted to be able to live a life where I wasn't always struggling, where I could do things for myself and for my family, my children and my grandchildren, but still have a job that had meaning. So that for me is the context that I want to leave with you guys before we start this discussion. I was told that I could talk for about 30 minutes, but I want this to be a discussion. between all of us here. I mean, I've pretty much been able to establish myself in my business. I'm a publisher. My company is called $1 Million Pen Inc. And I write for new authors. I ghostwrite. Sometimes I co-write. A lot of times I'm editing. I'm editing for new authors that kind of just like, look, I want to write this book. I want to write it about A, B, C, or D. I have no idea where to start. Can you help me? And I'm the person that's just like, okay, fine. Look, send me your notes, send me your thoughts, send me your ideas. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation. What kind of book do you want? When do you want it to be launched? How do you want it to be launched? You know, what kind of marketing do you want? What kind of imaging? So we're pretty much a full service shop. I love what I do because I love to create content. It's difficult some days, but when I wake up in the morning and I'm working on somebody's book, and I just kind of want you guys to visualize this. Somebody is giving you their life. Somebody is giving you the ideas that are in their head, very personal, things that they've been through. I've written books about domestic abuse. I have written books about rape. I've written books about, my latest book is about a woman that had such a difficult life, and she went from being abused as a child to living a life as an exotic dancer, then moving on to become a nurse. And now she is like a head nurse where she works, husband, children, grandchildren. But the trajectory of her journey was so brutal. I cried while writing the book. Like, there were times I would get into chapters and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I'd have to put it down, walk away, come back like 2 days later. So, and I share this with you to say, that is the type of passion that I would love for you to have with anything that you choose to do. Now, I don't want you to absorb everything like a sponge, because that mentally you'll be spent before, you know, you even get deeply into the career. And I don't want that for you as well. But I want what you do to have meaning. I want what you do when you lay your head down at night and you're thinking about it and you're going through it in your head. I don't want you to regret, man, why did I do this? You are really at a really exciting time to venture on your own. I mean, literally, the possibilities are limitless. You got that technology terrain, which is primed for success. You have an ability to network and to reach people. That is limitless. That's something I didn't have coming up. It was very limited for me because I didn't have the resources that you have. This right here, this is your ticket to anywhere you want to go, because it's like a little mini computer in your hand. It answers all your questions. It can actually do work for you. Say you want to be a videographer, you want to be an editor, or even a writer. You have it at the palm of your hands. I didn't have those resources. I remember a time where I used to have to type my papers. I know I'm dating myself. Y'all, some of y'all probably don't even know what a typewriter is. I'm looking at these little young faces. They were just like, dang, she old. Don't play me. I'm not that old. I just had to use a typewriter because we didn't have computers at the time. We didn't have these cell phones. So think about the advancements that have been made, at least in my lifetime, when I'm looking at all these faces out here. And I always just say to myself, I don't know how far along I would have been if I had the resources that you all have there, but I can guarantee you it would have been a little easier. And it also would have probably would have leveled me up a little faster. However, none of that would have been possible if it weren't for sessions like this, like sessions like with Jobs First New York City, like having these conversations with people that have been through it. You are pretty much privy to the lives of everyone. So most people on social media are pretty much letting you know what they want, what they're missing, what they desire. You can compile that information if you have no idea yet exactly what you want to do, and pretty much say, okay, I see where the need is, and here is what I can do to fulfill it. That is the first really deep dive that I want to take with you guys right now. Decide what business you want to start. Then when you decide you want to start it, then you start building from there. Is there a need for the company that you want to start, or the product, or the service organization? Are you providing a service that doesn't exist? Are you filling a void? Are you fertilizing new ground for an innovative idea or an innovative way of thinking? This is the first step, because the point is, competition is always going to be out there. It's higher in some segments of the economy than others. So you need to really sit back and ask yourself, how am I going to stand out? How am I going to go to a network of people, to people that want to patronize my business, to people that want to buy from me and have me say, the reason you want to come to me is because I offer A, B, C, and D, and the competition doesn't. You have to fill a void, or you should fill a void. Now, if you're doing something in a competitive field that other people are doing, and chances are you will do that. I mean, I'm a publisher. Publishers everywhere. There are multi-million-dollar publishing companies out there. That's not lost on me. I'm still a small minority-owned business. I do okay, but I do know that people have choices to go other places. What am I offering anyone who wants to write a book? What am I offering anyone who wants to do perhaps any of the things that you want to do? And when we have the discussion, I want to hear what you guys have in mind with regard to where you want to work, what organizations you want to start, what concepts are brewing in your head, because then we could really kind of just sit down for the final few minutes of this conversation, and I can tell you what I believe your pros and cons will be, where I think you might hit obstacles and where I think you're going to peak. But at the end of the day, you're going to be successful, because if you set your mind to do so, it's going to happen. Like I said, I don't guarantee a lot of things. I shouldn't. It's not for me to. What I do know is, when I decided I'm going to be good at this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to fill a void, I'm going to fill a need, that's when things really started working in my favor. That positive thinking attitude, that work ethic, that grind, I cannot stress to you how important all of those factors are in making sure that you will be successful. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about? You don't want to keep trudging and pulling like you're walking through cement, doing something that you thought was going to be fulfilling for you, but you're not seeing the fruits of your labor. The hardest thing in the world is to be working at a business and putting in your effort, putting in your money, putting in your resources, and you're not seeing results. But those results take hard work, they take time, they take effort, and obviously they take some money. So how are you going to fund your business? These are the things that you need to start thinking about. Even if you're a freelancer, even if you're doing gig work, which I know is part and parcel of this conversations, right? So we're talking about entrepreneurship and we're talking about gig work. Okay, basically you're on your own. You have to do what you have to do to make sure that you subsist. In order to do that, there is such a degree of organization that you need to establish. You will not believe how much calendars are needed. Just the basic stuff, basic things, calendars, schedulers, networking tools. You need to be talking to financiers. Like, how are you going to build this business? Obviously, you're building a business because you don't like where you're working. A lot of times you don't like where you're working because you're not making a lot of money. Now, if you're not making a lot of money, where are you going to get this money to build this phenomenal business that you have in your mind? Research. You can't just wake up one morning and decide, I want to be an influencer, or I want to start this business, or I want to be a publisher. There are literally levels to the thinking that you have to apply before you take that plunge. Now, I'm not telling you not to take the plunge. I will not sit here in the time that we're having this conversation and tell you to do anything. What I will tell you, though, advice-wise, is plan it, organize it, get it right, make sure it is good in your mind, make sure it looks good on paper, do the research, Find out what the competition of the company is. If you're doing gig work, find out how many freelancers are out there doing the same thing that you're doing. Make sure you know what they're getting paid so that you know what you need to be paid. Because you can't just go in and say, yes, I can write this script for you. And then they say, okay, $20 an hour. Now you write an entire script for whether it's a movie, a television show, or maybe you write a bio or you write a press release for a company and they hand you $150 and then you listen, then start networking, then start doing your research and find out you could have gotten upwards of $5,000 to $6,000 to $1,000 for the work you just did. Avoid that pitfall. Your research is key. You need to be so fully embedded in the industry that you want to be in that you know every single thing about it. And I mean every single thing. I mean, you want to know who's at the top of the food chain, how they started. Those master classes are absolutely key because I remember reading a book called Outliers, and the author's name has not come to me yet, but I will get it for you by the end of this discussion because that was one of the best books I've ever read with regard to just knowing myself and knowing business. And basically, the fundamentals of the book state that it takes a certain amount of years and a certain amount of hours to be really good at what you want to do. And it wasn't just like, 20 hours a week. Like it was Malcolm Glad. Thank you. Exactly. Malcolm Gladwell, one of the best books, one of the best authors actually that I've ever had the privilege of reading and meeting, and one of the best books that I've ever read. And my point in saying this to you is none of this is going to happen overnight, especially if you're thinking about the gig work. I don't know who in this group is thinking about being an influencer or a brand ambassador, or what we're doing on social media these days with regard to just kind of building our images and just being brand ambassadors for, whether there's sneakers, whether there's clothing, or anything of that sort. But even that doesn't happen overnight. These people built their following literally one person at a time, one crazy video at a time, one idea, one concept. Along the way, they're picking up followers, they're learning how to edit, they're learning how important it is to market, they're learning how important it is to stamp their brand. Now they're reaching out to people. In saying this to you, you have to build your persona. You have to build your character. You have to build personality. You have to be able to call up an executive or call up a business or call up anybody who you need something from and present yourself in a credible manner. And this is what I mean by planning. How good are you at speaking to people? How good are you at communicating? How good are you at asking for money? Because eventually you're going to. Eventually you're going to have to maybe crowdfund or raise resources and assets to fund your business. You can think about borrowing money from anyone, from your parents to friends. But what is important about that is when you borrow people money, that come with instructions. Those people aren't just going to hand you money and just sit back and let you do whatever you want with it. Now they're going to keep their eyes on you. They're going to make sure that what you promised you were going to do with the money is what you're doing. They are literally going to be the overseers of your life. So you can't go out asking, grandpa, mommy, daddy, friends for money. And then they see you on Facebook in Cancun 3 weeks later, because they're going to wonder, okay, well, wait, what now? Because I know 3 weeks ago, she was telling me that her business was faltering. And if she had this little bit of money, she would at least be able to make ends meet. Well, the ends ain't meeting in Cancun. So those are the types of things you're going to have to take into consideration, especially if you need funding for your business. Now I'm gonna put my glasses on because that's another thing. Don't try to be cute and successful at the same time. You'll mess up. So I'm putting my little glasses on because I want to make sure that I get all the points that I have in my notes for you guys, and then we can go on and have this conversation. With regard to networking, I don't know if the group that I'm speaking with now, that I have the privilege to speaking with, truly understands the value of social media. not just to post where you were last night, not just to put up the business, not just to put up those little vacation pictures or what car you're driving in or none of that. That's Facebook, that's social media, Instagram, Twitter, that's used for evil. That's what I say. If I want to build a business. Now that's all good if all you want to do is kind of just flex and profile and show people what kind of life you're living. I'm not here to judge, do you. What I'm saying is you can use these incredible platforms that are available to you for free to actually grow a business. When you start thinking about everything that you have at your disposal as something that can help you move your business instead of something that's going to give you some kind of personal credibility, that's when you're going to start understanding the mind of an entrepreneur. Every single thing that you do in your life, somehow, some way, has to feed your business. You're going to end up waking up in the morning and you're going to have people calling you, asking you if you want to hang out, if you want to go to a party, if you want to chill. And all you're thinking is, nah, those 4 hours that I'm going to be out, just not doing much of anything, but probably drinking, I could be doing something to build my business. When your business becomes part of you, when it becomes top of mind, when it becomes everything about your life, that's when you are clearly on the road to entrepreneurship. And that does not happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. I juggled corporate America and $1 Million Pen Inc. for many years. $1 Million Pen Inc. for me was something I did to earn extra money. And because I like to write, it fulfilled a passion. Corporate America was my big deal. Corporate America was what was helping me pay the mortgage, pay the car payments, and get my kids through school. When I flipped that, when I changed that perspective, and I started saying, corporate America, that's my side hustle. That's the job I'm doing in order to make enough money to build my business, to build who I am, to build what Liz Faublas-Wallace wants to leave in this world. So when you begin thinking about corporate America or any job that you are as the side hustle and the company you want to start, the social media influencer platform you want to build, the organization, whether it's community service oriented or whether it's just something that you are building that you pray one day is going to turn into a Netflix or a Google or a Microsoft, which it can. That little side hustle there starts taking a smaller and smaller and smaller piece of your mind and your body. You stop stressing over what's happening here, about this boss getting on you for being late, about the work that you need to be doing, and you start making sure that, okay, I'm going to take care of here because I probably need this money to fund my business, but what's really happening in my life is this business. That's the change. That's the frame of mind. That is where you need to be in order to decide my business is important. You want to join groups on social media. Now, when I say social media for evil, it's tongue in cheek, but I'm saying don't waste time. If you're going to be on social media anyway, and you like it, join groups that feed and nurture and can absolutely grow what you're interested in. If you want to be a writer, you should be in as many credible writing groups on social media as possible. And I don't mean just get in the group and kind of just watch and scroll and see what they're doing. When you see something that feeds your interest, or when you see a person or an organization that could probably help you get to the next level, start engaging. You have to engage. There's nothing shy about starting a business. Nothing. If you're going to sit back in the cut and kind of wait for it to come to you, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you, you need to be aggressive. You need to be direct. And that's what I say, leading back to, now I'm a stand-up comic. This is called a callback. I'm going to go back to the point where I say your research, your networking, your plan has to be in place, because now that you're in these groups, and I hope that you're networking and you're socializing and you're being integrated into some of these conversations and you're engaging and you're asking questions, when you get the big man at the top of the organization or the company ask you, okay, So tell me about your idea. Tell me what you're looking for. You better have that plan, whether it's in a bridge version, whether you have already written it out in a document, you better have that plan ready to go, because you have that person's attention for that one moment. And if you think you can tell an executive or somebody in a C-suite or somebody who has their own organization and they're busy running that, oh, hold up. Thank you for contacting me. I'm gonna get that to you in a few days. No, you've lost it. You've lost that opportunity. Now you may be able to go back to it. I don't know how smooth some of y'all are. Y'all might have that like little gift of gab, and you all may be like, really good at kind of bringing people back, reeling them back in. That's not always possible with a big business person because they've moved on. If you call me and you ask me for advice, 3 things need to happen. You're going to have to listen. And I mean, listen to what I have to say, not necessarily listen like I'm going to do everything she says. No, just listen. The courtesy and the respect of listening to somebody who's in business. Then I'm going to have to at some point see you apply some of the gems or the jewels that I've seen. And then I want you to follow up. So I don't know that this is just a one-time thing where you kind of just call me to pick my brain and then you disappear. Because the one thing a lot of business people, including me, really want is the respect for our time. That's extremely important. You need to have respect for people's times. Because in the 20 minutes to half hour to 1 hour that I took on your request to kind of just give you some seeds, to give you some advice, to help you lay a foundation, I could have been helping a paid client. Now, I'm not necessarily thinking that while I'm on the phone with you because, you call. I've always said in my life that I'm going to pay it back. I've always said I'm going to pay it forward. So if you call me, I'm going to sit there with you. But if I see that you're not applying it, that you're not grateful for just the time to speak to somebody that was interested in what you wanted to do, you may not get me on the phone again. And I can only speak for myself. And I'm not saying that as some grand declaration of me being as a person. I'm telling you this as a business person. Respect for time. Your time too. Because in the 20 minutes that you're talking to this person, you could be doing something else. These are the values and the principles and the ethics that I really want you guys to just start thinking about. Even now, I mean, I know the groups that we have in this room, and hopefully I'll find out more about that, how old you guys are in the last few minutes that we get to talk, 16 to 24. You're not too young. The younger you are, the more you start applying these principles at a young age, the more they become ingrained in who you are as a person. Whether you're a freelancer, whether you're starting your own business, or just moving through life, being a planner, being an organizer, being somebody that's just not about the games. Like your mind is focused on the next level. Okay, I'm done here. Where do I go next? What do I need to level up? What do I need to make a business that's grossing 30 a year double and then triple? This is where your stream of consciousness should always be. And you could start that at 16. There's nothing wrong with that. There are no rules to when you decide that you want to start planting the seeds to be successful. No rules whatsoever. You set the rules. You're in control. That's a power I think a lot of people do not have. And I really want you to start thinking that way at an early age. And even if you're a little older, it's also never too late to start, especially when you're being given an opportunity to hear how you could kind of just change the trajectory of your life and of your business and of your goals, which is why I really love having these platforms. And I'm going to speed it along because, again, I really want to hear your questions. Branding and image. So key. You are your brand. Everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, Everybody that you deal with is a representation of you, who is a representation of your brand. How are you branding yourself? What networks are you using to brand yourself? What does your company look like? Do you have a website? Yep, we still use websites. It's not just all social media. How connected is every platform you're using is to your brand? Everything should be uniform. If somebody goes to your IG or your Twitter or your TikTok, because now TikTok is even helping with advertising and marketing, or Pinterest, Facebook, and they're looking for you, your name should be aligned with every single one of those platforms in the same format. So that way, if somebody goes to one, they're going to go to another, and then they're going to go to another. Each of them is going to be a reflection of you, your brand, and your company, maybe in different ways, because you market differently on different social media platforms, but you need to leave footprints wherever you go. As a writer, when I publish, I tell people, get on Goodreads, and not just the platform to kind of scroll through it. Be an invested author in Goodreads, on an Amazon.com page. Everywhere somebody goes, they need to learn something about you. Fill out those forms. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is pristine. Make sure they know every single skill that you have available to you. There should be very few questions that somebody who's seeking out your services should have after they've looked at your social media or your page. Cancel culture is real. I hate the term, but it's here, it exists. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I need you all to take it extremely seriously. If you want to be a gig worker, you want to do freelance, you want to start your own business, you want to work in community service, or you want to work for somebody else, your credibility, your integrity, the way you present yourself, the way your business is laid out will always be the foot forward. Make sure that you are on point. Make sure that you are the person you would hire, you would look to for advice, you would want representing your business or your brand. And it takes just the slightest misstep these days for you to go off course. That's all part and parcel of the planning, the organization, and the mindset. You don't ever want to do anything that will disrupt your business, because you are your business is you, and if you don't have this business, you will not be able to subsist. So you know you need to tread carefully. Cancer culture is real. I had to really stress that to you right now. You can't be successful alone. The sacrifice of any of it is real. Some days you're going to be up, some days you're going to be down. That's just a reality. You have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for the people that are going to tell you, why are you doing that? Why don't you just get a job? But that's not your business. Mind your business. I don't want a job. I want to build my business. The person who's telling you that, that's not your person. You want to surround yourself with the people who have your best intentions at heart. And honestly, sometimes those people that are telling you to get a job, to stop dreaming, to stop trying to level up, are the people that are closest to you, people that you wouldn't even think. And there are very respectful ways to be like, mama, I know you wanted me to be a doctor, and I know you wanted me to be a nurse, or I'm Haitian, so they wanted me to be a nun at some point, an engineer. Those are the only things that Haitians ever want their children to be. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And you got to stand firm in that. And you have to be able to move forward, knowing that these little voices are going to be in your head. As much as you can block them out, I would really, really, really want you to do so. With regard to just being organized, with regard to planning, with regard to building yourself up to being able to deal with the obstacles as they come, and with regard to just kind of saying, I don't need anybody's permission to be great, because I'm here, I'm doing it, and this is what I want to do. With regard to all of that, that's all in your power. You could sit here and listen to me talk for 1 hour, take the notes, kind of just absorb it. I'm open for you guys to call and contact me if you have other questions beside this. That's something that I love to do, to be able to help. If you're serious about it, But at the end of the day, the power is with you. You're the ones who are in control of where your business goes, how much freelance work you get, how much people respect you, how much people call you back. You're the one in control with that. And you have tons of resources at your disposal. And I want to leave you with this before we start talking. Do not ever forget your mental health and your wellness. That is top priority over everything. You're going to work hard, you're going to sacrifice, you are going to be disappointed sometimes, and you're going to be on highs sometimes, but it's going to be a constant motion. Even when the business is doing good, you're going to still constantly be going. You're constantly practicing, you're constantly organizing. Do not lose sight of the fact that if this ain't working, if your body gives out on you, that business is not going anywhere and it might fail. That is that is something that no one ever prepared me for. That's the advice I wish somebody had given me. You don't need anybody's permission to be great, and don't let anybody mess with your mind, with your heart, with your spirit, or with your money. And that's all I got for you guys, because I really want to hear your questions. Got some stuff in the chat. What's happening?
We don't have that much time left, but I did
Okay.
see that Jay Nyla McNeil asked a question. So if you want to answer that really quick before we
What's the
go.
question, baby?
Yeah, she was basically said that she's a life coach, or they said that they're a life coach, and they're in the corporate setting to build their own work, and they just want to know how you prevent taking on too much.
It's not personal. It really isn't. I'm an empath, and that's just kind of like a DNA thing for me. Like, trust me, therapy can't even get it out of me. But what I have learned in order to limit how much it affects me is it's not personal. You go in, you do your job, you're empathetic, you're compassionate, and you're sensitive. But at the end of the day, those people are going to go home, live there. You can't take it with you. You got to get that out of your mind. You are never going to be the lifesaver. You're not superhero. You know, you don't have that S on your chest. You're not here to save people. You're here to help people. The only person that you need to be concerned with is you for anything that you're doing, because you cannot pour from an empty vessel. And if that's the way you have to think about it, that's the way you should think about it. You can't do your best at that job if you're debilitated. So when you start thinking about the things that debilitate you, whether it's the stresses of the job or the stresses of the environment, and you know, well, I can't do this job, earn my money, and be my best if I'm debilitated. When you start thinking that it's taking so much out of you, and you decide, nope, not gonna let that happen, that's how the thinking starts to change. That's how the trajectory of the conversation starts to change. So it's about you first. That's not being selfish, being selfless. It's about you first. And then you could help everybody.
Thank you, Liz. So we're basically out of time now.
I'm sorry, I talked too much.
It was very informational, though. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody here did as well.
I hope everyone enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, now you guys can leave this and go back to the lobby so you can join the main event page. I posted the link so you can click it and join it from there. And I just hope that you guys really enjoyed the conversation.